What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Moedotj and we are locked in. Here we go. The final part of Hip Hop Uncovered, part 6. And this, we're going to go into some of the untimely demises of a couple of rappers that we had and how hip hop has evolved to where we are today. But before we get into all that, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel and want to be a part of this, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. Ding, ding, ding. Like. Let's get the likes up. But we know where we are today in hip hop. Now, we seen last time we left off, we was in the mid 2000s, but now we're going to see how hip hop has smoothed out into where we are today as the number one when it comes to culture. But you know me, I'm Moedotj. I'm not going to hold you up. Let's jump into it. This is Hip Hop Uncovered, part 6. We start off with Haitian Jack. Now, we all know he got locked up. He ended up getting deported. And now he's down in the DR. We know he's from Haiti, but he moved to the other side. Just, change of scenery. For him, the biggest thing he missed about being in the States is his family. And then comes like the music and all the money he made. Now, he's not broke. Shit, I got $100,000 watch on. I still drive Ferraris and stuff, but it's a difference. Now I don't have my family over here with me. Now he's looking at investing. He said if he would have known this 20, 30 years ago, when he first started off, he would have been buying up all the property while he was in New York. But it's better late than never. That goes along with what we said about Dr. Dre. And these people, when they're young and they're getting in the game and they're doing things, they don't have someone in their ear giving them the right direction. All they know is being a stick-up kid. And Haitian Jack said it ain't cool to be a stick-up kid at 60, 70 years old. He knows something, though. We get to see Big U talking to CEOP. Now, you know CEOP, he's at Quality Control with Coach K. They got the Migos, they got Lil Baby, they got the City Girls, Lil Yachty. They been making moves. They also had Lil Marlo. Marlo, he was a nice-ass rapper. I ain't even gonna lie to you. And for him, he's seen that money isn't everything. Now, his little daughter was in the hospital and he was telling the doctor, look, I got $1 million right now, man. We need, can you get my daughter right? And the doctor's pretty much telling him, hey, I can't do anything for you. For Big U, he said, man, that would break him down. Marlo, you strong, because if that was Big U's son or daughter or any of ours, we'd all be hurt about it. And for Lil Marlo, he was like, man, it sucks. I got to stay focused and keep grinding, though. Unfortunately for Lil Marlo, this is where a lot of this episode is going to go into the gun violence. But now we're starting to see it on social media and things. We didn't see when Pac, we didn't see when Big got killed. But we're starting to see all of these young rappers being killed because of social media. And this is what Big U, everybody, Trick, all the older people, they're trying to get the people to stay away from the street stuff. Once you make it in music, you got away from the street life. Leave the street life alone. They start talking about Pop Smoke. Now, Pop Smoke was in LA, but he wasn't affiliated with anybody. You know how they say you got to check in with Trick? It's just showing respect, because these people can tell you where you can and where you shouldn't go. And Big U saying Pop Smoke, he wasn't affiliated with him, Whack 100, and several other men. So he didn't know where to navigate through the city. He was just pretty much out there by himself. And that's the importance of checking in. It's not trying to disrespect you. They're just trying to say, hey, come check in. We're going to make sure that you're good. You're not going to take away from the community or anything, but we're going to make sure you're straight while you're visiting our city. Big U talks about altercation he ended up having. He went viral for it a couple years back, but they were at a club. They were trying to get in, but they wouldn't let one of Big U's homies in because he was high, and the security started tripping. So for Big U, he's part of the streets. He said a lot of people would have left, got their boys and came back. But for him, that's not how it is. We're going to handle it right now. So he got into an altercation. He felt it's 15 of them. It's like 2 or 3 of us. We're going to get whooped anyway. Might as well. So Big U started handling his business. They ended up jumping on him. They kicked him in his face. He had blood all in his face, and he gets arrested for this. But later on that night, he said 200, 300 people came out and they started wreaking havoc. Security all up and down the Los Angeles little strip where they have their clubs. People out there whooping on him because Big U is so respected in the club. They were wrong for that. They were wrong for how they did Big U. But Big U being Big U, he didn't want his reputation to still be Big U, the notorious gangster. So it ended up coming down that 5 people had perished from the little, the streets versus the clubs in LA. But the owners of the supper club, they actually got with Big U and they sat down and they raised money for him. And what they did was they gave him money. And out of that money, Big U used $70,000 to donate back to the streets. You know, he had to keep his money, but that's not what it's about. The money is about helping his community. That's what he got out of jail to do. And they started donating food. They started doing everything. They helping people out with the 70,000, giving kids supplies that they needed for school. So Big U turned this negative into a positive and actually helped out his whole community with it. Now we back up in Detroit. Now Trick, we know about the infamous not letting Rick Ross come on in there. We know about the no-fly zone. We heard about that. Everybody, Young Berg, I guess his name is Hitmaker now. He went up there, chain got took. Trick told the labels, look, y'all ain't coming up here and working with our artists, so stop sending your artists in here. You send your artists to Detroit during the no-fly zone time, we sending them out of here butt naked with no jewelry. Record labels don't do that. If they ain't checking in with Trick, it ain't no performing in Detroit, and that's that. And this is what they mean by check in. Trick's not denying you from performing, but what he's saying is you're not gonna come here, perform, get money, not gonna put any of our Detroit artists on the stage to open up for you, and then take our money from all of our people during our struggles to support you, and then you leave in our cities just in shambles. Nah. So that's why the no-fly zone started. And that's what a lot of cities are doing. It's not that we don't want you to perform, but if you're gonna come here and you're gonna mess with the city, then help some of our artists. Let some of our artists open up for you, and don't charge them. Like, you can't charge somebody to open up for you. Come on now. They up and coming. You was there one time. Come on now. That's all Trick wants, the respect for Detroit. The no-fly zone with Rick Ross, where they locked up the gates, Trick organized a peaceful protest. Pretty much everyone saying, hey, Ross, you can't come here and perform because you're not messing with the city, and you didn't check in with Trick. Now, Rick Ross didn't perform. The biggest boss of all bosses, didn't perform because there was a lot of people out there and things could have got ugly. But as far as Trick, the media spun it and said, oh, this is extortion. You even had DJ Academic saying this is extortion. Rick Ross made the right decision, but it's not extortion. Trick just didn't want people to use their city and leave, and then they still be broke. So he was doing the right thing. He was looking out for his community. They speak on Black Wall Street in Tulsa, how they burned it down. They speak on how they were developing in Harlem, just like we said in the last episode, because they were seeing black people put their money together, becoming organized, and actually running the city the way that it should have been ran for black people to thrive in. Now, Big U was also the person that was in Nipsey ear. We know he got Nipsey when he was first coming up. And what he told Nipsey was, hey, you got to start worrying about your community. We got to start getting things together. You got to give back to your community. And that's one reason Nipsey went on to do the things he did, because Big U was a mentor to him. It was a big brother. And Big U loved him like a son. And we know the Slauson boy had Slauson on lock, man. He had Crenshaw. The love that Crenshaw and the whole hip hop community gave Nipsey, we really haven't seen that in a long time. But he put together everything. He bought back his block. He had the whole little corner store. The Marathon continues. He had a barbershop. So he was giving back to his community the best way he could. And that was giving them opportunity. Eventually, Big U separated himself away from the music industry. But him and Nipsey were still cool. Now, they did have a falling out, and the reason they had a falling out is because Nipsey started to grow and wanted to become his own boss. So, of course, naturally, that's what men do. When you come up under somebody, you eventually work your way up, and then you're like, okay, I can do my own thing. Now, Big U, since he moved out of the industry, he told Nipsey, listen, I'm going to take my studio equipment, I'm going to put it down here at my shop, so you can come use it whenever you want, and then everyone else will have access to it. But Nipsey kind of got mad at that, and that's where their disconnect came. It wasn't no beef or anything. Nipsey just felt like he wanted to keep all the stuff at his spot, but it was Big U's equipment. So that's where the little disagreement came from. But they went their own separate ways. It wasn't any beef or anything. One day, Nipsey and Big U, they have a sit down and they actually talk about the whole situation. Now, both of them are rolling 60s. Big U's well respected. And Nipsey was well respected also. So Big U was like, all right, we had a disagreement, but the way you came at me, because Nipsey admitted that he was wrong about the situation because it was Big U's equipment. So Nipsey admitted that he was wrong. So Big U said, all right, you got to come get this discipline. You know, that's just what the gang members do. But Nipsey's brother stepped in like, nah, you ain't going nowhere. And Big U's like, hey, if that was my brother, I would have did the same thing. But you're not in the street life. So what me and Nipsey have to do, we have to go handle it. And that's what they did. They handled it like men. I'm not saying that they got in a fight or anything, but he took Nipsey and they actually talked it out. Nipsey and Big U, they handled it like men. You know, they talked it out. I always say that in all my episodes, any show I'm watching, man. If you can come together and talk something out, you'll get further than what you can if you just out here wilding out. And that's what they did. And as Nipsey Hussle started to rise, he got his deal. He came back and told Big U, hey, Unc, you know what I'm saying? Let's get things together. Let's get back together and let's get it rolling. Let's make this money. And that bond came right back together because all they did was talk it out. Nipsey heard from Big U's side. Big U heard from Nipsey's side. Nipsey admitted he was wrong. They got together. And of course, we got that amazing, timeless Victory Lap album from my boy Nipsey Hussle. R.I.P. man. It was unfortunate how he went out too. Now Big U, Nipsey Hussle, they together. That's the movement we seen before Nipsey passed. And we know what Nipsey was doing to the community. So he was receiving all kinds of awards, humanitarian awards, because he's doing things for the community that no one ever expected. And all of this was funneled through Big U. Big U started off, was one of the original gang members, went to jail, tried to find a way out of it, took Nipsey up under his wings. And hey, we got the Nipsey that we seen because Nipsey was doing everything he could to give back to the community, to make sure that his people had a chance, had an opportunity. He was basically building up another Black Wall Street in Crenshaw. Man, Nipsey was an amazing dude. And Big U was in his corner. Nipsey's untimely demise, killed in his own neighborhood, killed on the block that he was buying back. It really hurt everybody. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I listened to Nipsey Hussle. I wasn't one of those that was spinning like all his old stuff. I'm not going to lie. I listened to some of it, but I more appreciated Nipsey for what he did outside of hip hop. That's what I seen him as the mogul on the rise. And for all of his artists and his counterparts, Kendrick Lamar, The Game, they all knew Nipsey from the beginning. And for them, they were very hurt. I mean, everybody was really hurt and touched when Nipsey passed because he was doing everything right. He was doing everything right, from a gang member to a mogul to on his way to who knows what he could have done. He could have conquered the world, honestly. We all respected him. Hip hop world respected him. Politicians started to respect him. And the only thing you can say is we need another one of them. I don't know who's going to step up to it, but we all agree that we need another Nipsey, someone that's doing the right thing and trying to make positivity within their community. It's just sad, man. And the thing I mentioned earlier about how social media is, the news, you're actually seeing this. You're seeing legends being murdered on film. Everyone else, Big, Pac, you don't see nothing but the aftermath. The vehicle's riddled with bullets. But we actually seen this murder, just like a lot of other murders we see online. And that's the thing about social media. It brings out some weirdness in a lot of people because we're seeing all this online and people are behind the camera, behind the phone. You can't see them. So they're just talking reckless about stuff they don't know. And with Deb, she's had a lot of drama in her life as far as people passing her father, one of her baby fathers. She ended up having a son killed. And even her, a lot of black people think, oh, you know, I'm black, we don't have to worry about suicide. But one of her sons did actually take his life on December 29th. It was a while back. So she lost two sons, her father, one of the fathers of her children. So she's seen all this and she's really trying to break that cycle. We got to do something better. What people don't understand is Big U and Nipsey had already been talking to other gangs inside of LA, whether it's a Blood, you know what I'm saying? If it's a different Crip set, they're talking to them and they're like, hey, let's come together and work this out. We all put our money together, start buying back things. We don't have to live the way we're living anymore. So that was the end goal for Nipsey, to pretty much, yeah, you'll still have your gangs running their little territories, but let's not have any issues with each other and let's bring the community up because we have the capability to do it. Because of social media being the way that it is, Nipsey Hussle's death was one of the biggest deaths in hip hop. We all got to see it. We all seen it, but we also got to see, I won't say the the good that came from his death, because there's nothing good that comes from a death. But what we did see is LA start to transform. All the gangs came together. They had times that they can come and show their respects to Nipsey. And that was all organized by Big U, because he has a program to try to help gang members get out of the gangs and change their life around. But also with this social media presence, Haitian Jack goes into, people don't even know what's going on. They're trying to say Haitian Jack had Tupac set up. They're trying to say Big U had Nipsey set up. But all these people are saying that's because it's kids on the internet. A lot of them, especially with Haitian Jack, weren't even alive to even say that Haitian Jack had something to do with this. When all the evidence shows, we have the guy on Vlad interviews talking about he handed somebody the pistol and they shot Pac. So Haitian Jack and Big U, they're like, why would I set this man up when I was trying to help him? We know Haitian Jack helped out Pac earlier in his career. We know Big U was with Nipsey Hussle and helping him out. So why would I set this man up? I don't have anything to do with that. And social media is just making it worse. Along with this, you have kids now. These men are older. They have kids. So now they got to worry about what their kids are dealing with when they go to school. You got to make sure ain't no one picking on them, or some gang members. Oh, you go to school with Big U son. Like, you have to deal with a lot of things. You can see right here, Big U is suspect. You is jealous of Nipsey Hussle. Like, why would Big U be jealous of him when Big U seen talent in him and wanted to push him? It was pushing him further than what he was doing on his own. So it's just nonsense that you see on the internet. People trolling, trying to make a name for themselves. It's just sad and sick. We all know this. Now, if you're watching this and you're one of the younger people and you come up with the social media, the internet isn't the streets. The streets, they live by a code. All that trolling and stuff that you do behind your phone, behind your keyboard, that'll get you messed up in the streets. And we've seen a lot of incidents where people doing some trolling online, talking gang stuff, making themselves seem tough. In real life, they not that. And that's just because they don't have any OGs. They don't live that life to have an OG. Listen, you're a suburban kid, live the suburban life. I tell you, man, I finally got into the suburbs when I got in high school. And I tell you, it was a huge difference from where I grew up at, man. My high school that I went to at first, we lost accreditation. So we pretty much just at school, going to school, wasting time. But when my family finally moved to the suburbs, okay, I had some structure. And I mean, I made some bad decisions, but I made it here today. So I got to look at it like that as a blessing. Which leads us into the biggest troll that we've seen in years. Yeah, 6ix9ine talked all that tough talk, but he got locked up. We all knew he was snitching. Now, he did what he had to do to get out of there. That's because he isn't a street person. But I mean, even the street people, most of them, they going to take a plea. They going to tell on somebody. It's few. I say probably 80% of the people are going to tell. They're going to do something to get themselves out there. And we see how 6ix9ine is disrespecting everybody. And it's just, eventually, the labels are going to move on. You're going to be broke and everybody's going to be tired of you. And it's going to get ugly out there for you. Internet and social media, in Nick Cannon's word, changed hip hop. Because now anybody can come out. But now the perception of hip hop is jump in the game, flash money, flash guns. You're getting fast money. You're doing all this. So social media is giving these kids an image of what's not really going on. These people that are really making it, they're really behind the scenes grinding. They're not just on the camera faking it. If they talking about it, they really lived it. And unfortunately for a lot of these young rappers coming up, you see it down in Florida. You see it everywhere, honestly, but mainly Florida right now in Chicago, they have to have the tough persona for them to make it out, because that's what's glorified in music now, at least amongst the young social media era. More killings are happening now. And along with these killings, we're starting to see them. Social media is making everyone aware of what's really going on in these black communities, which we have a Black Lives Matter. Now, my thing about Black Lives Matter, I won't go into too much about it. We don't know where all that money is going, but the overall Black Lives Matter that us, the regular folk, are out there protesting for, that's to bring awareness to everything that's happening to black people that isn't really happening to too many other races. I mean, the brown people, the Hispanics, the brown and black people, we're the ones that are really suffering from it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to white people, but we have to get a control over the majority, which are black people. And we have Black Lives Matter, but Then you have the white people try to change it. Oh, it's not just Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. Well, all lives do matter, but we need to make sure that these Black lives matter, because once we do that, then it'll start getting on the same playing field as all the lives. Right now, the Black lives, we're suffering the most. But you do start to see all of the older rappers. You got Killer Mike. You got T.I. down in Atlanta. They really doing things within their community. You got the same thing with Big U out there. Everyone is doing something to help their community. Trick's here, and he's telling the community, look, you're going to see me everywhere around us, all around the city. That's what I'm doing, making sure that the blocks are good and providing opportunities to everybody in Detroit, because we've been in poverty. We've been at the bottom. Now we want to expand, and we want to show that, hey, we are just as good with our communities as any of these white communities. Y'all just have to give us a chance. And Big U and Trick, these men, they really do their thing. And Trick, he took it to another level. When I tell you Trick took it to another level, he got a letter from the United Nations. Now, if you don't know, the United Nations, that's pretty much as high as you can get. He's on stage with dignitaries from other countries because he's doing so much in his community. He's welcome to go help out anywhere in that the United Nations have control over. He's able to go over there and help fight for freedom and justice. So Trick is really on another level. I'm talking about he got recognized on the highest stage that you can be recognized. Trick is doing everything he can to make sure that Detroit and all of the surrounding communities are best. Now, his father, the gentleman here in the nice suit, you know what I'm saying? That's a real OG right there. All due respect to him. He even says, to see my son be with the United Nations and do what he's doing, that's the proudest moment a father could have. Now, Trick had some troubles, but he turned it all around. He's seen at an early age that this is what needs to be done for my community to help us thrive and take it to the next level. And Trick did that. And for that, you got to respect that man. Everything he did was for his community. Whether people liked it or not, he was doing what he could to protect his community and provide a better opportunity for him. In this interview he's having here with Creflo Dollar, we know about him, but move him away from Big U. It ain't got nothing with Big U. Big U said he was out of jail for 15 years, and the crime and violence from gangs was down. It's the lowest it's been since 1967. So he has a gang prevention program where it's bringing in youth, giving them an opportunity to do something else, play football. He got a team in the Crenshaw League with Snoop. So he's taking things to another level and providing opportunity for these young men coming up to be persuaded from joining the gang, because it's really nothing that's going to come out of that. We know the two options, dead or in jail, or you might be one of the lucky ones to get out, but why join in the first place? Just like Deb, she's done so much. She's helped out so many careers. Man, it's undeniable all of the stuff that Deb has done to actually help and uplift. And she was actually honored by Jesse Jackson. She asked him, "Oh, you know about me?" Jesse Jackson said, "Who don't know about you, Deb?" And even Walker was like, "It's amazing to see my mom receiving, the accolades and the acknowledgement that she get." And he didn't even know you could get awards for stuff that she's doing. But Deb was very influential and helped out a lot of people. Bimmy's son is rapping now. And for Bimmy, he's like, my son is smarter than I was with the music. We knew Bimmy was a street guy. We knew how Bimmy came up. But Bimmy was before hip hop was really going. So he had to go down the route that he knew, which leads back to Dr. Dre again. Now his son has an OG in his ear telling him, you should do this, do this. And his son's producing music and rapping. And so, hey, when you got that OG leading you in a way, especially one that's been through it, then your future is a lot brighter. But you don't have to get into all the gangbanging. Big U's changed so much. Even Snoop was like, hey, I look at Big U when he first got out. Oh, man, it was on a different time, man. You wasn't disrespecting Big U. You still ain't now, but you wasn't disrespecting him. You wasn't doing nothing without Big U, checking it. But now Big U is, wearing suits, holding meetings and everything. And Snoop is just looking at him like, man, Big U's really changed. Now, see, it took him jail to realize that. But everyone that's watching this now and all of you, stay away from it. You got all this information out. Use the social media for good instead of all the trolling and stuff. And you can get on the right path, man. You don't have to go down that wrong path and end up jail or dead. Big U, he's on a voice call, a video call with a couple of his young, the youth that he had playing football and stuff. Now he says he has more people in college than he does in jail. So that's how big of an influence that he played on the community. He's taking all these kids, putting them in college. USC, we got a guy playing for Navy, we got UCLA. And all of them are coming up through his programs, the gang prevention programs. So it's an opportunity out there for you. It's just we have to get more people in more cities to start making this thing move like it should be moved. Now, all 5 of these, Trick, Deb, Haitian Jack, Big U, Bimmy, they all played a part in hip hop. And we are here today. That's episode 6 of Hip Hop Uncovered. Let me know what you think. Which one of these 5? I know I asked before about which one of these 5 would you want to be up under, but which one of these 5 do you think would have made a difference in your life growing up because of their stories? Let me know what y'all think below. But that's Hip Hop Uncovered Part 6. Very good docuseries that they put out. I'm looking for more docuseries like this. So if you have any, let me know below. I'm Moedotj. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button. Definitely give me a like, 'cause that's the easiest thing you can do in the world, is just click that like button. But thanks for watching. That's Hip Hop Uncovered 6-part series. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.